Welcome and or welcome back to my channel. I'm Hannah Blackwell and today I am super excited to be bringing you my recommendations for fated mate romances. This video is going to be in collaboration with Tiff from Tiff Talks Pages. I'm really excited to be doing this collab with her. I freaking love Tiff. If you like my content, which is kind of a mix of genres a bit, some romance, some cozies, and all kinds of different romance too, some fantasy, check out her channel. She is so amazing. She is super sweet. Her content is super creative. She has amazing energy. Make sure to follow her Instagram because her Instagram stories are hilarious. I love Tiff so flipping much. So make sure to go check out her video for fated mate romance recommendations after you watch this video. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you do so. Don't forget to click the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I post new videos. Click the like button if you liked it and comment down below and let me know your recommendations for a fated mate romance. With all of that out of the way, let's just go ahead and get into this recommendation list. So the first book that I'm going to recommend is What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods. This book is a fantasy romance book. It's the first in, I believe, a 4-book series. I started the second book, I put it down, but I'm still planning to pick it back up. I wasn't quite in the mood for it at the time. This one is, like I said, a fated mate romance, and we have our heroine. She is a human, and she's living in this world where she's having to like work in the fields and just kind of struggle to get by. She's underfed, she's sick, and she's also been being treated very poorly by like the Lord. I don't know what his title is, but like the Lord of the area. And one day something is about to happen, something very bad is about to happen to her, and the wall that is separating the humans from the Fae falls. And the humans, certain humans get marks on them, and this is a fated mate mark. And so those ones are being hunted because as soon as the Fae gets their mate, they have like more powers. So the humans don't want the Fae to get their mate. So she's being hunted by the humans, but she's also being hunted by a Fae who she knows wants her, but she's scared of the Fae. So she is running from basically humans and Fae at this point, and it goes from there. It's very adventurous, it's very steamy, it's super hot. I loved this book. I gave this one 5 stars. I'm a little bit nervous because I really wasn't like loving where the second book was going. So I'm kind of nervous to pick it back up, but I want to because I do want to continue on with the series. But the first book, I have to tell you, is amazing. I loved this book. It has got everything you want in a fantasy romance. It's got plot twists. It's got fantasy, like really cool fantasy world building. It's got spice and steam, and it's so good. It's so good. I loved it. Make sure to check this one out if you haven't already, especially if you like fantasy romance. Like, don't overlook this one. I feel like it got a lot of hype like a couple years ago and less people are talking about it now, but I really enjoyed it. Okay, next I have a book that I have read recently, and that is Taken to Vexia by Elizabeth Stevens. This is an alien romance, and man, it's good. It is so good, but dark. Make sure to check the trigger warnings before you pick this up because, yeah, this is an alien romance and these humans are living on this moon. And on this moon, they're just living in awful conditions. And in order to just get the little bit that they do get, like, of help, they have to agree to be hunted, the women on this moon. They have to agree to be hunted by this other alien race. There's SA. Basically, that's what the hunting is for. It ends with SA. And so they're dealing with that, and it's basically awfully traumatic. So imagine all of the triggers that come with that. But one day, the man that, like the alien that is supposed to be like the head of all of these aliens, he is like the emperor almost for like a federation of different planets and races, I believe is what it is. And so he's in charge of them. And he basically sees all of these supplies and things going to this moon, and he wants to know what's going on, and he gets there and he's not happy with what he finds. But he is happy in that he finds his fated mate. He can scent her, he smells her, he knows immediately that he has found his fated mate. And she is not technically of age for them. It has to do with their moons. But basically, she's like 18, I think, and she needs to be 19, something like that. And so he has to wait a full turning of the moon before he can come back. So he has to wait to go pick her up. Then he finally does, and it's their romance. She has to basically learn to trust again and learn to trust him because she thinks that he's trying to use her, and she doesn't trust anyone because all they've ever known is just awful conditions. And she also has to learn to rule these people because he actually expects her to like rule by his side, not be subordinate to him. And so there's just a lot of really good conversations going on in this book. The romance is so good. I really love the audiobook. The narrators for the audiobook did an amazing job with this, and it was just really good. This was unlike any other alien romance I've ever read. I found it to be so unique, so gripping, so heartbreaking, and so there was just so much angst and feeling put into this book. I loved it so much. I just loved it. So I can't recommend this book highly enough. Okay, so the next couple actually are alien romances. So this one is Desire in His Blood by Zoe Draven. I read this one recently as well, and this is an alien romance, but he's also like part berserker, part vampire. So it's kind of like monster romance, but also Zoe Draven's books read like fantasy romance. So I feel like it could fit in with any of those genres, alien, monster, or fantasy. This is definitely a fated mates romance, and it's also a true enemies to lovers. So our heroine, her father has a lot of debts, and she's trying to take over the family finances and deal with those, but basically they come to the realization that she's gonna have to sell herself for marriage, and there's this bidder that is bidding an extremely high amount, enough to cover all of the debts and then some. So she ends up having to sell herself to this other alien who's very rich, obviously. Well, it turns out he's from this like blood-sucking berserker planet, and she's terrified, but she goes. Her father's like, well, you have to go. It turns out that this alien has it out for her family. Something happened, and our heroine doesn't know what happened, and you don't really find out until later on. And he is out to make her life super difficult. He hates her with a passion, but then he immediately realizes that she's also his mate. So he hates her, but she's meant to be with him. So there's all of that conflicting stuff going on too, and she can feel for him too. She can feel this connection, and it's very good. Zoe Draven just writes these really swoony, angsty, full of feeling romances where the romance is forefront, but the world building is still really good too. I'm a huge fan of Zoe Draven's writings. I just want to read more from her. She actually just announced a new series coming out that's actually like I don't know if it's like a spin-off, but it's like a continuation of the Do Kiri Bride series, which is a different series. And yeah, I really love her writing. Highly recommend this. Like I said, Fated Mates, obviously because it's on this list, and a really cool mashup of genres, and the romance itself is just top tier. I cannot do a Fated romance recommendation list without mentioning Ruby Dixon. Specifically, I'm gonna have to mention Planet Barbarians. I can't not mention Planet Barbarians when I'm talking about a fated mate romance like recommendation list. I just can't do it. So obviously, here we go. Planet Barbarians. If you like fated mate romances, you have to read Planet Barbarians. I love this series. I have read the first 8 books so far. I'm continuing on. I'm loving my journey in this world. It is just a fun, easy, enjoyable read. The audiobooks are really easy to get your hands on too, which is also helpful. And this is just a really fun alien romance. Like, I just feel like she's like the godmother of alien romance. Like it's just so good. So this is about these human women who are taken by these evil aliens to be, I don't know, sold or something, and a lot of them are actually assaulted when they are first abducted, but then something happens and they're having to like emergency drop these women off on this planet, and it's like a snowy, cold ice planet, and on this planet they meet these giant blue aliens. They're not the same race that abducted them, but what they've noticed is these aliens have these symbiotic relationships with this thing called like a cooey, and when their cooey purrs, that means that that person is like your fated mate. This ice planet does not have enough women on it. A lot of the women that have been dropped on this planet start what's called like resonating, which is like that purring to these aliens, and so they have mates. So each book is its own couple. The romances are really sweet, really fun. The books themselves are really easy to read and fast-paced and just a fun, good time. Nothing to take too seriously. Do check out the trigger warnings though, because there is some heavier things that go down, especially in the first book and then later on in reference to like memories of experiences that happened in that first book. So just check out the trigger warnings first, but Planet Barbarians is like quintessential fated mates. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about Wed to the Orc by Layla Faye. This is a orc romance. It's part of a series where different books are written by different authors. So this one's by Layla Faye, and I think she wrote at least 3 or 4 in this extended, it's a pretty long series. And it's basically where there's this mating agency or marriage agency that marries off wealthy monsters to impoverished humans. And in this, what decides whether or not you're like fated to be together is actually almost like an algorithm. They basically put everyone's DNA in there and it just matches people with like their perfect match. And so I would still definitely consider this fated mates in that way, because those are the people that are supposed to be perfect for you. This is the first book that I read in this series, and I still want to read more. I've read 2 so far, but I really liked this one a lot because in this one, our big green orc wears glasses. He's a scientist, and the girl is total sunshine, and he is total grumpy. They're so cute. She's just so happy to be able to help her family and to be basically out of the slums, and he's got a big library too that she gets to read books in. She's just like a ray of sunshine, and she is trying to basically stay positive about his grumpy mood, and he's not really, like, he knows he needs a mate for like his needs, but he also doesn't really fully know how to know or want to be attached, if that makes sense. So she's got to pull him out of his grumpy stupor, and he just falls for her sunshiny demeanor, and it's really sweet and really cute. It's spicy, but I also just in general found it to be a really cute romance. This is probably like my favorite orc romance. Like, you have to love an orc with glasses, you know what I'm saying? Big, green, and with glasses. Speaking of green, I don't want to forget to take my magic mind today. I have a whole bunch going on. I know you guys know I homeschool my kids. I have a lot of work to do in the garden this week while the temperature is still kind of okay, not too hot. I have to keep my energy up, my motivation, and magic mind is how I do that. I talked about this in my last video, but don't forget to use my code HannahBlackwell20 for your 48% off your first subscription or 20% off your first order with Magic Mind. It is a mental performance shot that just makes a difference in my day-to-day life. It's got loads of healthy ingredients to give you sustained energy all day long. You can drink it with your coffee because it's got extended release caffeine. I just adore it, and I know you will too. Okay, so let's talk about That Time I Got Drunk and Yeeted a Love Potion at a Werewolf by Kimberly Lemming. I adored this book. I need to read the 3rd book in the series still, but then when she got picked up, it was like unavailable on ebook for a while, and so I've had to wait. But I really would like to read the 3rd book. I'm not sure if it's up on Kindle Unlimited yet, but hopefully soon. But yeah, I really like the 1st and the 2nd book in the series, but the 2nd one is definitely Fated Mates, and I couldn't remember if the 1st one was or not. But the 2nd one's definitely Fated Mates, and we've got a werewolf, and our heroine is at a bar one day, and she accidentally throws a love potion at a werewolf, and he is infatuated with her. He insists that she also knows that she is his fated mate, with or without the love potion. He is 100% sure of it. She is not. She doesn't trust it. She thinks it's just the love potion. And the two of them kind of go about their, let's say, romantic journey together. This is spicy. This is hot. This is fun. It is cozy and magical, and just everything that Kimberly Lemming does is amazing. Highly, highly, highly recommend. I thought this was great. It's my favorite book in the series so far, between the 1st, 2nd, and then I also read the novella too. And this is my favorite. And the werewolf is just super sunshiny, and he's just like a happy puppy. Like, he's just so sweet and infatuated with her. Obsessed. And she's just kind of like more of like a realist, and it's really cute. I loved this one. Fated mates and super sweet. I also have another Ruby Dixon that I have to talk about. I already said Ruby Dixon is the queen of fated mate romances. We know this, but a lot of people don't know that she actually has a dragon shifter romance series, and I think there's 5 books in it. I've only read the first one, but I think they're all fated mates. So I'm just going to recommend the first book that I've read so far, and that's Fire in His Blood. And this is like a post-apocalyptic dystopian world. One day, dragons like opened a rift, like a rift opened in the sky, and dragons fell through and basically decimated like most of the world. And now humans are kind of living in this post-apocalyptic world. It's scary. They are basically always looking out for the next dragon attack. There's different types of dragons and different ones are more deadly than others. And she kind of gets herself into a bind and is sent to be sacrificed to a dragon. Well, he smells her and he's like, that's my mate. And he takes her and kidnaps her, and the two of them have a relationship. And it's so cute and sexy and fun, just like all of Ruby Dixon's books. But I liked the whole post-apocalyptic thing too. I love a good dystopian post-apocalyptic kind of world for romance or for like any genre really. I really like it for romance too. And this one was fun, and I need to read more dragon shifters because I liked that element as well. And I know that's becoming a much more popular thing recently, especially after Fourth Wing. I'm always seeing dragon shifter stuff coming up. Basically any Ruby Dixon is probably going to be fated mates. Okay, I have 3 more left to talk about. The next one is going to be Merry Mysteries, A Demon's Horns. This is the first book in her Why Choose series that is like a set at a school, and it follows the 7 deadly sins. So like what demon you are in this world is also aligned up to like a sin. So our heroine, she finds out pretty early on in the book that she's a lust demon, and this is her getting with a demon from each different type of sin. And this is a school setting, so a magic school setting. And it's really, really spicy and fun. And I love magic school settings for romance books, especially Why Choose. I don't know, just something about it clicks really well for me. And the book ends on a cliffhanger. Just so you know, most of Merry Mysteries books do end on a cliffhanger. And this one is no different. And I need to read the second book in the series and continue on. I feel like that every time I do a recommendation video, it's me saying like, I need to continue with that. I need to continue with that series. I'm so bad at continuing on with series. But this one is really fun. I love the school setting. I like that it's demons, so it's like paranormal, or you could almost say like monstery. Like she has horns, and but I think that that's not actually like super normal. And it's really good, really fun. Merry Mystery writes the best Why Choose romances. Next is another book that I read recently, and it's called Spookily Yours by Jennifer Chipman. This is a Halloween themed paranormal romance book, a witchy paranormal romance book. And in this, our heroine is a witch, and she's living in this, imagine it like Halloween Town, basically. Halloween Town and Stars Hollow had a baby, and that's the town you've been dropped in. And it's October, so the whole book takes place during the month of October. And they're doing all of the Halloween things. There's pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin spiced cookies, pumpkin spice pie, pumpkin pie. There's pumpkin everything. And they also do all the pumpkin activities in this, like, you know, picking out a pumpkin and all like the fall activities, like doing a hayride and like the corn maze and all of that good stuff. They do in this book. So our heroine is a witch, and she sees this cat one day that she is drawn to, and she takes the cat home, and it turns out this cat is a demon who has been cursed to be in cat form. So she has to help the demon break the curse and become a demon man again. And it is a romance between them. Could it be more cute? Could it be more witchy and like spooky Halloween fun? A demon in the body of a black cat. Like something about that and a witch being together to me is like screams perfection for a Halloween romance. It was so fun. Rom-com, but very spicy. Like, it's a short book and there was a lot of spice in this one. So if you are down for like a fun, spicy time, this one's probably your book. Another fun, spicy time that is probably your book if you like fun, spicy romances is Kay Lorraine and Meg Ann's Obsession, which is the first book in the Mate Games series. I've talked about this book before, so if you watch my videos, you've heard me talk about it. We even did a read-along with Maggie on the Hideaway, and we did live shows, and it was so much fun. The audiobooks for this series are phenomenal. It's a full cast, and they're done so well. So I highly recommend, if you're going to read these books, listen to the audiobooks. They're so flipping good. But this is a white shoes romance, also a school setting, and like paranormal. So our heroine is a wolf shifter, but she seems not to be able to shift. Like, she can't shift. And then she's got the fated mate romance with the wolf that she was already supposed to be mated with, but she rejects him. And then there's a vampire who's at the school, and then there's a vampire professor who's at the school. So a professor, which is like a taboo, like forbidden romance. And then there's like a Viking god. A Viking god. So those are the 4 love interests. It's why choose, and it's so good. The books usually end, I believe, on some kind of cliffhanger, so be wary of that. But they're really good, really fun, easy to fly through, spicy, good time, lots of fun. Highly, highly recommend Fated Mates. So there you have it. Those are all of my Fated Mate recommendations for you. I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to go check out Tiff's video as well as soon as you're done with this. I will have it linked down below in the description for you too. Make sure you go check out her channel, subscribe. She is such an amazing person. She has such an amazing channel. She has amazing recommendations. Highly, highly recommend you go check out Tiff. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel and you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe. Don't forget to like if you liked it and comment down below and let me know your recommendations for a fated mate romance that you think I'll really enjoy, or maybe someone else in the comments will enjoy as well. Until next time, fellow readers, keep reading and living your best life.
Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to gray as you fade away.